Hello, my name is Matthew Faulkner,
And this is Chris Wayward.
and we're the two behind Square World Films, and we are continuing our playthrough of the Gilded Prophecy and Rift with the second boss, who is Guurloth and not Thalgor, like I said before.
Just in case you watched the previous video there.
I also span it up and didn't know what the red AoE on the floor with Enrak the Fel did as well, and I still don't, because I've never touched it. So this boss, I'll be honest with you, is a lot harder than the Scorpion.
And we're jumping straight in there.
We're starting, and lots of things are being shiny. This boss is like Game of Simon Says.
What on earth is that?
You have to do what he tells you to, basically. He says there, jump little fools, and you have to jump over those shockwaves he sends out or you take damage.
That's quite clever, actually.
It is, and it can also be very nasty, because if you get your timing off a little one... this is another one. This is called Earthen Punishment, I think. And he's also summoning a friend at the same time. The punishment first, he'll single one person out and say, X will do nothing or you'll all suffer. Every time that singled out player does something, the entire raid takes 2,000 damage, which can kill you pretty quickly. He summons a friend, which I'll talk about in a second. This is his nastiest attack, is called the Orb of Searing Power. If you look at him whilst he's casting this, he'll kill you.
Oh, brilliant.
It's that simple.
Instant death.
Instant death, well, very, very quick. He does about 4,000 damage a tick, and it will kill mages like me in about 2 hits. He'll summon the little diamond elemental thing there, that's called the Friend of Guurloth. That has to be tanked away from the boss, because if he's so close to the boss, they inspire each other and the boss's damage output gets a lot higher. If you don't kill the diamond elemental in time, the Friend of Guurloth, he will summon a friend of Guurloth, and you have to tank the friend of a friend next to the boss, because the friend of a friend buffs the friend if they're next to each other. You shouldn't really have to worry about that in runs. The DPS should be high enough just to kill the friend before anything happens.
What on earth's going on now?
Now he's summoning tornadoes. There are a few safe spots. This is the best safe spot for ranged that I'm in at the moment. If you get hit by a tornado, it flings you up in the air, and when you land back again, you take fall damage, which can't be defended against by anything. Nedra's Essence, Flaming Shields, nothing helps against fall damage. You also get... he will also continue to stack on his other Simon Says attacks whilst that happens.
As demonstrated.
As demonstrated right there. You can do this with one tank. You don't need a second tank for the friend, because the boss, as far as I know, never actually moves.
You have lost one.
We have lost
two
people. Yeah, well, it's a difficult boss fight.
Which two are gone? Sorry, are they two tanks?
No, it's a rogue and a mage.
That's not too bad then.
I think our bard... No, the bard's still alive. Anyway, he'll continue to stack on his attacks and summon tornadoes and summon friends and do things. You may have noticed a little yellow... Oh, run, little fools means you have to constantly move. If at any point you're standing still, you take a lot of damage. I think it's about 1,000 a tick or something.
So you run into a wall?
Yeah, you can run into a wall and it counts you as moving. This is the easiest way to... this is me getting hit by Earthen Punishment, so I'm not allowed to do anything for the next 10 seconds or so. You can see it in the top right in the buff bar. It looks a little bit like a spider's web. Once that decays, you're free to act again, no problem.
Yeah, gone. There we go.
Gone, and now I can start doing damage. It really pisses me off when they pass at the end of this fight, because if you get hit by Earthen Punishment, then you're not allowed to do anything for 10 seconds. It's like, that's not a real reading. I'm not crap, honest. That's the best place to... as you can see here, this is probably one of the best places to tank the friend, because I think it's quite safe from tornadoes, and you can get into a position where you're facing away from the boss, but you can face the friend. The boss has this trick. My first attempt, I got killed by the don't look at him attack like 8 times. I was being an absolute idiot, and the reason it tricked me was he tends to summon the friend and then use the Orb of Searing Power immediately afterwards. The friend is the DPS priority, so you're looking at the friend, not the boss, and I didn't see him cast the Orb of Searing Power, and I got killed as my face melted. So he does, as a rule, he tends to cast Orb of Searing Power after he's summoned his friend, and then he just does stuff for a while. You may have noticed the yellow pulsing mark on the ground. That's an Earthen Geyser. It damages you as long as it's touching you. You just have to move out of it.
So you're currently stood in it by the things?
No, it's just off to my left a bit.
Oh, okay. Yes, no, I see.
The glowing thing's a magic wall, basically. If you don't all engage them at the same time, you can get raid members locked out of the fight.
So what was that you were stood on there? Or was that just an AoE?
That's Pyromancer, that's Grounded Power. As long as I'm standing on that, my damage output is increased by 15%. Which is why... It's one of the main reasons why Pyromancer loses so much damage when it moves, because it's not on one of its grounds. And it can take quite a while to... If you don't use the Flame Shield to make it instant cast again, you can lose quite a bit of DPS. Especially if you have a bit playing a bit like an idiot like I usually do. You can see me there just kind of standing in an Earthen Geyser now. What the fuck am I doing? Where am I going? Where am I going at this point? It's just like, I don't know what that accomplished. I just ran into a tornado for the hell of it. And there's me.
Took some bad damage there.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
No, the healers know what they're doing on this fight. We're fine.
3 down.
3 down. 3 down, but we can do it. The main thing to watch out for is the Orb-Searing Power and Earthen Punishment, because they can kill raids very, very quickly if people aren't paying attention. You can just see there we took a tick from Earthen Punishment because the person who got singled out did an action. Here's the Orb of Power again. Oddly enough, without the friend. You can turn your camera to face him, but you can't have your character physically facing him, otherwise your face will melt and you will die horribly.
I wouldn't mind seeing it.
You don't get a special animation, you just fall over.
Oh.
Which is a shame. I'd like a special kind of, like on Brutal Legend, just like a face melter animation where your face actually falls off your skull.
I've not played that in ages.
Brutal Legend is brilliant. But that's pretty much the fight. He'll cast a big boulder and you have to do something about it. I think it's either an interrupt or a reflect or something, or a cooldown to help the tank out. I have to admit I'm not that well versed in how to play tanks properly because I'm a mage. And I have tried tanking, but whenever I do it never turns out that well.
I think that's going to be my job.
Because, when you stop playing? If you stop playing. I should point out that Chris doesn't play this game, but he's playing the role of the person who asks questions.
The dumbass, shall we say.
Yeah. But this is basically this fight, and it can be quite difficult the first few times.
He's got some bloody health behind him, hasn't he?
He has. I think he's got slightly more health than the third real boss, not counting the offering, which we'll cover in the next video. The offering is actually going to be the next video. I've not been a complete spanner and got the next boss wrong the second time.
Well, until we get there.
Until we get there, and suddenly you find out actually it's from the drowned halls, and we've completely screwed up the video.
Does this wonderful man have any special abilities when he's down on his health?
Not that I know of. He just cast his Simon Says attacks and that Fist of Lethis thing. Well, it might not be called Fist of Lethis. That might be the next boss.
So your mage role here, you can't attack at all whilst you run, or you can, but it's massively
very few abilities. My instant cast abilities are Ignite, Countdown, Flame Bolt, and Inferno. Flame Bolt, every now and again, when you cast a Fireball, your next 3 Flame Bolts don't have a cooldown, so you can cast 3 in a row.
Yeah.
If that happens whilst you're moving, that can really help your DPS out, but that can't be relied on.
Yeah.
My honest experience is that Warlock Necromancer builds are best for mobile fights because it's all done with DOTs and your pet is a big source of damage, and that can all be done whilst moving.
Oh, 4 down now.
4 down? Yeah, we're still going to take it. Oh my god, I'm in the air. And in an Earthen Geyser. That was very painful. At least it would be if it was real, and it wasn't.
Are we going to get any of those other guys up?
I don't know. I can't remember. It was a while ago. Explosive Pistol.
He's gone now anyway.
He's almost there. We just burn him down. There's me doing another spike. Just hopefully trying to do things. I see 5,600 crit is kind of okay if you're entry level raiding, I suppose. I think the highest crit.
Is this entry level?
Yeah, this is entry level. I'd say it's entry
rated.
level. Well, it's. I think as far as stats are concerned, it's probably about as difficult as Greenscale's Blight, which is the first 20-man raid. But the bosses are more mechanically challenging. With 20-man bosses, you usually have the main, effects. They only really affect the tank, and then there's one little random thing that's thrown out onto a DPS to keep them on their toes. They don't fall asleep and just mash their macros with their forehead when they do that. 10-man bosses tend to keep the whole team moving, so they check that everyone's focused at all times. Now, I really enjoy the 10-man bosses. There's one boss in River of Souls called Warmaster Gallier, and I find him really boring because you quite literally stand behind him and you just do your single target rotation throughout the whole fight and stop when he tries to steal your soul. Because if you act when he steals your soul, you heal him for 4% each action. But that's a really boring fight, Gallier.
Can you not run backwards at this point? Or?
What, you mean back out?
Well, you've turned around and run forward. Can't you just run backwards?
I suppose I could run towards him, but he's dead now.
And there we go. No one down.
Another one down. First try. We lost a lot of people, but it was still a one shot. So
only 5 people down. I'm guessing. Yeah.
Well, some people got brought back and they died again.
Oh, true. I did notice that actually.
Mystical Diamond Ring. That's priest gear and warriors and the tickets, of course. No mage drops yet. I'm used to not seeing any mage drops. It's been a long time since I've seen anything drop for a mage.
Yeah.
And then it was Drowned Hall, so it wasn't exactly.
Right. So there's no one down.
Yep.
What's next?
The next is the offering to Lethis. You see, unlike the last video, I actually looked on the list that's on the video in front of me as I do this commentary. So I'm not going to get the next encounter's name wrong, because I'm paying attention this time.
Brilliant.
That was Guurloth. We lost quite a few people, but we did it. It's just to show you there is leeway. You don't have to die if one person makes a mistake. So the next video is the offering to Lethis, and that's going to be very, very fast because it's not really a boss fight.